Pradip, what will be your view on Nifty? You think despite the move of Reliance, Nifty is where it is. It is showing that there is huge selling pressure as well in the market?
Hi, good afternoon, Pankaj. To put things into perspective, from the top of 8970 made in September 2016, Nifty took 4 months to correct to 7900, and in less than 2 months, it has recouped all the losses. So 8970 being that earlier top on monthly charts is also a big resistance, and after a steep run up of nearly 12-13% in less than 2 months, Nifty is approaching that resistance, and that was our major target through this rally. So it's logical that Nifty consolidates around these levels. Having said that, if 8970 is taken out decisively, then obviously 9119, which was the highest high made in March 2015, would be the next target. For the timing, 8830 is the immediate support, with the stop loss of which existing longs can be held onto. But we have also asked our clients to book some profit in a long position as 8970 was approaching.
Right. Mayuresh, what will be your view on the market?
So largely, again, I think you have seen a big spike up happening over the past few weeks. And all the events have probably gone by. I think the next event that the market is looking at is the outcome of the UP state election. Now, if it turns out to be the way the market anticipates, I think this rally will very well continue, with expectations that leaving aside Q4 earnings in terms of aberration that we'll probably witness in terms of demonetization and still some amount of chinks left in terms of volume growth and price degrowth in terms of consumer-facing industries, whether that be autos, consumer staples, FMCG, consumer discretionary. A large part of the market, if the saying goes good, believes that the earnings recovery should happen from the first half, can create some amount of impetus in terms of earnings estimates actually improving for the market as a whole. So I think we might probably stay in a range, at least till the UP elections, but if they go as per the plan, as the markets expect, you might see the rally continuing going forward, with expectations of earnings recovery happening in first half of FY18.
Right. Mayuresh, thank you so much for taking out time for us. Always good to get a perspective from you. That was a view coming in from Mayuresh Joshi. Pradip Hotchandani is still with us. Pradip, let's start with Idea. 114, 5% higher now. In the last 20 minutes, it spiked about 5 rupees or so.
Yeah. So, the top made in last month, 119, is also coincided with its 20-month moving averages. So from that perspective, 190 is a crucial resistance. For after touching that high of 119, it has spent whole month of February till now in a consolidation phase. And today's up move is very encouraging. It's coming on the back of higher volume. So I think I would be comfortable holding on to the with a stop loss of 107. And once 119 is taken out, then 130 to 133 would be the next target area.
Right. What will be your view for Bharti Infratel? That's a name which has gone down significantly.
Yeah. So here, I mean, we have been kind of circumspect on the stock, and whenever this came up, we said that it has been stuck in a very stiff, very tight range over many months, and that range was in fact broken on the way down. So I think still here, larger scale charts, it's continued to be negative. So we would continue to avoid Bharti Infratel.
Right. What are your top picks just before market close, if you could just tell us?
So energy is one space which we have been positive for quite some time. Here PTC is something which we have recommended as an investment idea for next 2 to 3 quarters. Here we expect to around 25 to 30%. Similarly, KEC is one power ancillary stock.
Pradip, I think you said PTC. Which one? PTC India Financial or PTC India Limited?
So it's PTC India Limited, and the next stock I mentioned was KEC. Bharat Forge is something which we have been quite positive, below 900 levels. Here we expect a target of around 1250. So these are a couple of stock ideas which we are recommending.
Right. Pradip, just request you to stay on with us. Just coming back to you, markets are about to close. If I look at the market, today's day was only about Reliance Industries and what's happening over there. So Reliance at the top of your chart, 11% higher, 1208 for Reliance Industries. Idea Cellular in the last 30-40 minutes did go up, so about 5% higher for Idea Cellular. SBI up about 0.3, 0.4 odd percent, and ITC is up about 0.3 odd percent. So that's another name which is doing well. Tata Motors flat with a positive bias. Bank of Baroda is down about 1% or so. Bharti Airtel is down about 0.3, 0.4 4% and Bharti Airtel also slightly on the lower side. NTPC is down 3%. No particular news flow, but I think that funds have just got transferred from names like Power Grid, NTPC to probably Reliance. So that's probably something that one can just assume. Coal India up about 2.6%. They are likely to declare a dividend on March 6th. The Grasim is down about 2% or so, and Tata Motors DVR is up about 1.5%. That's also a stock which is doing well. Tech Mahindra is doing well. HDFC Limited is down about 1.2%, and Asian Paints is up around 2.8%. GAIL is absolutely flat. Aurobindo Pharma down about 677, but yesterday towards closing it did go up, but right now it's absolutely flat with a negative bias. TCS continues to go down. Second day in a row it has not done that well, so TCS is down close to about 2.5%. The entire technology pack did not particularly do that well. Maybe that's the reason why the index was actually on the lower side. Reliance, however, supported the index 11% higher, 1209 for Reliance Industries. Very, very strong move. 29 million shares traded, 121 for Reliance Industries. Idea Cellular was the next top gainer. It was up around 5%, 114 for Idea Cellular, 5% higher, 24 million shares traded. Axis Bank 4% higher, 524 for Axis Bank. That's also a name which has done decently well. Asian Paints up close to 3%, 1,020 for Asian Paints. And Coal India also did well. It was up around 2.6%, 328 for Coal India. Bharti Infratel was doing well. It was up around 1.9%. Tata Motors did well, around 1.6% higher. Bosch, BPCL, Hero MotoCorp are some of the other gainers, up around 1.5%. Let's also look at losers, because markets did not go anywhere even if Reliance was up 11%. So there were a whole host of losers. NTPC was down 3.5%. Ambuja Cement was looking weak. That was down about 2.3%. Power Grid went down. TCS, Infosys, Grasim, and the list can just go on. That's NTPC, 6.7 million shares traded, down 3.5%. Let's look at Ambuja Cement. Ambuja Cement was down 2.3%. Power Grid was down 2.3%. Infosys and TCS, both the technology names did correct, and Grasim was also down about 2.16%. So there were a lot of large cap movers also that went down today. Pradip Hotchandani is still with us. Pradip, what's your view on Reliance Industries?
Reliance, our next target is 1260. That was the top made in May 2009. This up move is coming after a lot of consolidation of many years, and that's why it's more sustainable and credible. 1260, as I mentioned, 1260, 1270 is the immediate target, but looking at that kind of consolidation it has gone through and kind of breakout is that it has staged. Over next couple of quarters, we would be watching out for 1500, 1550 as the major target.
Right. What will be your view on NTPC and Power Grid? These are stocks that have done well, but today corrected about 3%.
So, Power Grid has been our preferred stock, and we had recommended that as an investment idea at 150, 205 was our target, which has been achieved. So I think Power Grid should consolidate, and then next phase of up move can begin. Talking about NTPC, today it has broken its short-term moving averages and previous couple of bottoms. So here I think in the short term weakness can extend, and 160, 161 is the next support area which it can retest. Short term both these stocks can consolidate, but overall, as I mentioned, energy as a space we are quite bullish. So on correction, both these stocks should be accumulated.
Right. How would you look at Aurobindo Pharma? That's a name which has been very volatile in the range of 670 to 700. Do you think it's at the lower end of the range?
Yeah, it is at the lower end of the range, but we have been avoiding, the frontline pharma stocks, and including Aurobindo Pharma, Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy, Lupin, because these are after many years of up move, passing through a big consolidation correction phase, and on the longer term charts, they are still trading below their longer term moving averages, 200-day moving averages. So yeah, if you talk about particularly Aurobindo Pharma, 580, 600 was the lowest low it made in February 2016, and that has been the floor for the stock. So that should be a stop loss for a longer term investor. But for fresh buying, we would still consider mid-cap pharma stocks. Here Merck, something which we have been recommending, has hit a 52-week high recently. Glenmark is something which we like over Aurobindo Pharma. So mid-cap pharma as a space we like more than frontline pharma packs.
Right. How would you look at Just Dial? Now, it's a name which you may not be tracking, but in the last 1 month, it's done about 40% already.
Yeah, in fact, we had a discussion on this, I think, a couple of weeks back. After a steep fall, it had formed a positive divergence on weekly charts and some sort of pullback rally was expected. Now, on a monthly charts, if you connect major tops, major resistance comes to around 600. So, I think that would be the next major resistance as well as the target area for Just Dial.
Right. How should one look ahead at this name? What would be an actionable idea on Just Dial right now?
So I would be still a buyer because oscillators are still positive on the daily as well as weekly time frame, and 600 is a decent still from here. I want 15% up move is still on the cards. So buying with a trailing stop loss would still make sense on Just Dial. I think immediate support is around 470, 480 kind of region. So that would be the stop for any long position, and 600 would be the target.
Right. How would you look at Delta Corp? Now that's a cash name. It's in the last few days from 110. It's just shot up to 140.
Yeah, and when this was going through a correction phase after demonetization, we had said that closer to 9500 is where its 34-month moving average is placed, and that would be a very crucial support area. And from there, its stock has bounced back. Now, if you consider the movement after the demonetization, 139 was the top it made in January. So it's approaching that level, and once that is taken out, it would be considered a breakout on daily charts, and then 155, 160 kind of next target area would appear. So I think 139 is the resistance I would watch out for. Above that, 155 would be the next target.
Axis Bank was up 4%, and again, there is a M&A news into that company. Do you think 525 Axis Bank is looking good?
Yeah, I mean, in today's trade, it has crossed its 200 DMA, and I think it's good for some more up move. On the higher side, next target would be around 544. So here I would be comfortable holding onto the long position with a stop loss of around 495.
Right, but again, you would continue to have your long biased on most of the names?
So private sector in the banking space, we have been quite positive. So here, recently RBL Bank we witnessed has a big breakout on its weekly charts. After listing, it sort of went into a consolidation phase and recently broke on its weekly charts. So that is our preferred bet in private sector space. Apart from that, DCB Bank is something which we like on longer term charts. So these two will be our preferred bets in private sector banks. But yes, across the board, all the private sector banks are looking good.
Right. How would Bharat Finance look? It's done very well, but in the last few days, even if markets have gone up, NBFCs have done well, that's a name which has just taken a pause.
So it had a decent run up from the bottom of 465 in just couple of months. It is back to 875 kind of levels. So it's time it takes a breather. So on the lower side, 760 is the kind of support level. So it can consolidate a bit and try to move closer to these support level from where it can start resume its upward journey. For the timing, looking at the steep run up, I think it's consolidation time for Bharat Finance.
Right. So it's actually in a no trade zone, basically.
Yes, I would say so.
Right. How would you look at M&M Finance? That's also been volatile, hovering around the 300 level. Do you think that's a stock which is also forming a bottom?
So yes, it is in the bottom formation process, but I would still avoid it because it's it's trading below its 200-day moving average, and which also coincides with its 34-week moving average, which is placed around 310 kind of area, and there it has found a resistance couple of times. So that is the crucial resistance zone 310 to 315, which I would want the stock to decisively cross before taking a positive view.
Jet Airways, what will be your call? In the last 2 days, it's done pretty well.
So all the airline stocks went through a steep correction phase over a couple of months, and then they formed a base and traded in a narrow range for last 2-3 months. Now Jet Airways on the daily charts has crossed its previous top of around 424. In fact, it is right at there. So 424, 425 is the immediate resistance zone. Once that is taken out, then 200 DMA, which is placed around 480, would be the next target. So I would watch out for 424, 425 as the immediate resistance area. And once that is taken out, then next leg of up move begins.
Right, so it's closed at 422 right now. So what will be your call? Just wait for tomorrow's closing because it will also be weekly.
Yes. And 425, which I mentioned, was the top made in January earlier. So that happens to be a previous weekly top. and once that is taken out, then only we can take a fresh bullish view. So I would wait for 425 to be taken out decisively before taking a fresh long position.
Pradip, thank you so much for taking out time for us. Always good to get a perspective from you.